Hey YouTube, now I move on to probably the most interesting of my Dark Irregular decks, although I find the Darkest one quite good. This is the Bladewing one. I call it my Nightmare Bladewings because I put as many of the Nightmareland cards in here because I feel like Nightmareland could be a pretty good archetype or sub-clan within the Dark Irregulars in the future. Unfortunately, right now, Nightmareland doesn't have any good competitive Vanguards or Grade 3s, so it's kind of relegated to having to mix them with some other build, whether you're going Darkness or I found that Reijy seems to fit them the best. Like, he can actually incorporate them into his existing deck. So this is a Bladewing deck. It's probably the most difficult one to play effectively compared to, say, Amon and Vampire. But I feel like this one is still a lot of fun to play as, because it's very challenging for the person who's actually controlling this deck. Very similar to Link Joker. But it's very annoying for the opponent to play against. So opponents really don't like playing against Bladewings because they're very hard to kill, essentially. Basically, like, one of the win conditions is literally, like, trying to get the opponent to deck out before you do. And you just keep, like, looping your deck with Tybalt's skill and then holding your soul around, like, 19 soul when it's their turn so that you can block their attacks infinitely. So it's pretty much an endurance type of deck to win with, but it works, and it has some interesting new tricks up its sleeve. So we'll start off here with 2 Bladewing Reijy. This is probably the Vanguard that you do not want to ride, but if you have to, it can work, I guess. But it's not really all that needed if you don't have it, because you can probably run you could probably just run like 4. Well, we'll go into it, but anyway, 2 Bladewing Reijy and 2 of this Wings of Recurrence Bladewing Reijy. So this guy, this guy's your restander. So Dark Irregulars finally have a restander in the form of the Bladewings. So he basically, how it works is he's in the soul and he like superiorize himself from the soul, and then he also has the ability when he attacks a Vanguard, if you have Reijy in the soul, so this is the reason why we have to run Reijy, you can Soul Blast 15, he gets plus 15,000 and plus 2 criticals, so it doesn't cost Counterblast, but it's kind of a weird play. Like, I've only done it like 2 times in all the times I've actually played this deck, but it's kind of like a gimmicky strategy that they have. Any opponent that knows about Bladewings will know about it, but the real way that I found the deck functions in terms of like stalling the opponent out is using Bladewing Sullivan, so that's why I'm running 4 of him. I may go back and try like 4 Reijy and 4 of the new Reijy, and just try that like offensive base build instead of the defensive base build. But I found that this one's just so much more reliable because my opponent can never kill me if I'm sitting on this guy and I've got like 17 or 19 soul, which is pretty easy to do in this deck. You'd be surprised. So for Sullivan, essentially, he makes it so that you have infinite defense, or near infinite defense. Not infinite, but like very, very good defense. He adds 10,000. When he's attacked, well, he has his continuous effect is he gives all your Guardians plus 10,000 shield. So that makes your 10Ks, 20Ks, that makes your 5Ks, 15Ks. That makes your 0 shields, even your perfect guards are 10k shields if you just throw them down. So it's hilarious. Yeah. So that's the grade 3 lineup. It's all Bladewing. For grade 2s, I'm running 4 Bladewing Skies. Very essential card for the deck to function effectively, I feel. So it's Bladewing. Next I'm running a Nightmare card. I'm running 4 Dum of Nightmareland. So this guy is interesting. He essentially, you want to have Dum and Dee in the soul. So if Dee, which is a critical trigger, is in the soul on GB1, he's a permanent 11k. And when I say permanent 11k, he's permanent 11k. Like, not during your turn. He's like always 11k. So he is literally a 11k rare guard that can intercept. So very hard for the opponent to remove. It's a very good card. And when he attacks a Vanguard, he gets 2k for every Dum in the soul, or every Doom in the soul, which is himself. So if there's a copy of him in the soul, he's an 11k attacker. If there's 2 of them, he's a 13k attacker. If there's 3 of them, then that means there'll only be 1 of them possible in the field. You know, he's 15. So, pretty good card, interesting card. I like it. And then I'm running my 3 Gwynn the Rippers. So to give the deck some retire power, early game retire power, blow up their starters, kill off Chrono Dran, all that type of trash. Get that stuff out of here. That's what Gwynn the Ripper does. So, pretty good. For the grade 1s, I am running 2 Bladewing Tyrwhitt. So I decided to incorporate the Nightmarelands. So I went with 2 and 2. So I went with 2 March Ride of Nightmareland and 2 of Bladewing. So it's funny because with him, if you can't pay the cost for this, you throw it down, it's a 10k shield. If you throw this down, it's a 10k shield. So, and you'll just keep looping them every time you stride. So it's pretty hilarious. But yeah, she works really, really well with Sullivan. Essentially making you have infinite defense. Because like, if she like tops 5 grade 3s for whatever reason, or she like tops, well, it's this, you could chain this. But if you, anyone who played the deck knows what I'm talking about. So yeah, 2 and 2, it's pretty fun. 4 Bladewing Rodbiss. So she's basically your other Bladewing. She's like, I consider her the grade 1 Bladewing, like I consider this guy the grade 2 Bladewing. So 4 of her. Then I'm running 3 Stride Fodder and 3 Doreen the Thruster, because Doreen the Thruster works in here pretty well. So she gives power to the deck, so it has offensive capabilities. For the trigger lineup, I am running 4 Hystric Shirley, so there's my Hystric Shirleys. 4 Dee, for Dee of Nightmareland, for the other guy. And then 4 Dark Knight of Nightmareland, and 4 Alice of Nightmareland. So I'm running the Nightmareland trigger lineup for this guy. Yeah, but you can't really use them because I don't have any Nightmare triggers, or I guess Vanguards. And then I'm running Enigmatic Assassin because it's just probably really good as a starter. Like, it could be a 20k attacker. Only downside of it is you don't have Forerunner in the early game, but it still works pretty well. For the Stride deck, it's a lot different from the other ones, actually, for the other 2 decks. So 4 Wings of Annihilation, Bladewing Tybalt. He is almost always your go-to Stride, so you gotta run 4 copies of him. That's how your opponent can never kill you. And if you're actually beating your opponent and you have like 15 soul or more, then he gives 10k to your front row rear guards. So that's pretty nice. Then we have 2 Gillis, of course. I only have 2, should have 4. 1 Frederick, 1 Demog, 1 Lyra, and 1 Ericarus, and 1 Sharat. So those are all like the 1-ofs. And then the G Guardians, 2 of this one and 3 of this one. So anyway, guys, that is Bladewings. Bladewings by far is definitely the hardest deck to play effectively compared to the other Dark Irregular builds. Let me know in the comments below what your take on Bladewings are, what type of trigger. I'm particularly wanting to know what everyone's grade 3 lineup is. Whether it's like 2 of this, or 2 of this and 4 of that, or whatever it is. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.